Hey guys, let's start with unit 2 scripting language JNTU r18 syllabus. First one is short questions. Let's go with short questions now. Start with 1. Discuss any 4 functions or macros used to convert C data types to Ruby objects. Answer here. The following are the functions of macros used to convert C data types to Ruby objects. One is int to number int. It converts integer value and returns fixed number or big num. Int to fix int. It converts integer values in fixed numbers quickly. Then the above function long to num long. It converts long values and returns fixed num and big num. It converts long value to fixed num is known as long to fix. Let's go with third question. Write a short note on using string in Ruby. 1.8. In Ruby, 1.8 string value can be retrieved by calling the string value method by passing original value instead of value object. Therefore, it returns to the object on which r string can be used. If a string is not found, it throws the exception. The string value method checks for a operand. If operand is not string, it either invokes the -str and object on throw type error exception. If user wants to cross the string pointer with its length, the string value ptr method can be used. However, if the string needs to be accessed from the external source, safe string value method can be used, whose functions are similar to the string value. A safe string value method throws a exception if argument are not safe. So let's go with next question, fourth one. List of ingredients for the R class name. Structure of defined of Ruby H are named R class name. This includes R array, R class, R big num, R data, R file, R float, R hash, R g exp, R object, S string, R string, R strict. Next question is 6. Discuss a brief about creating objects and allocating functions. Creating objects. The user has to write corresponding code initial method or define a new method for class to create allocation on extra space in object. In Ruby 1.8, an object can be created by allocating functions through the acceptances. Same interpreter calls the class method new for the method, then it is allocates to memory for objects and initialize the memory by calling initializing method. Allocation functions is to create the memory for object. Ruby default allocator will handle the allocation process. If the object does not use any data, the user has to allocate space if class, verbs and any C structure. So next question is Chaith. This is the last question in short questions. So let's go. Mention any 4 functions used in embed and interpreter. Some functions used in embed and interpreter are follows. Void ruby.init is known as initialization function. It is used to set up initialization interpreter. It is called prior on any Ruby function. Void ruby-initialization load path. It is used to initialize the load path variable when the code loads any library modules. And third one is void ruby script char name. It is used to set a Ruby script name to specified name. The void ruby dash options, it is used for integer, algorithm, char, and etc. It is used to provide command line options to the Ruby interpreter. So that's it for short questions. Let's go with long questions. The first long question is, it is not an important question, but you should read it. The extension of Ruby. Write a code commands for writing Ruby extension. Writing an extension in the Ruby extension can be written as writing extension, building extension, running extension. You can select it afterwards after completion of everything. So let's go with the question. What are the steps involved in building an extension? The steps involved in building an extension are follows. Initially create a configuration RB file in dictionary where C source code is stored. The xcon.rb file must contain following piece of code. Require rkmf. Create make file extension name. Run the extension file to generate mkmf library module and new files. Ruby extension.rb creating make files. Fourth point, finally make a command used for building extension. %make. After this following commands are executed on Linux. gcc fpic user local library ruby 1.8 i686 Linux g2 csi-ciso gcc shared sci.co sci.o ll command executed on mp operations. gcc command g02 pipe fno command I user library ruby 1.8 power pack darwin 7.4.0 I user library ruby 1.8 power pack darwin 7.40. The dynamic bubble under undefined surprise flags namespace. External configuration.rb ruby external.rb makefile make. Discuss next question, 11th question. Discuss a concept about Ruby objects in C. Ruby is an object-oriented programming language. Therefore, every component in a Ruby is an object, including classes and variables. A class is an object consisting of models of where variables are object referers. The objects of Ruby are usually represented in the form of C pointers. Refers to the memory containers to the data related to the object along with the details related to the interpretation. There are two ways to press Ruby objects in code. They are passing value, passing intermediate value. The values are passed refers to belong to a variable. Values where the fixed name, true, false symbols and nil belong to a intermediate value. The letters values are implemented to solve performance issue. Exceptional case, these values are not pointers but they are directly stored in variables of type value. Though it is difficult combination of pointers, values and intermediate values, the pointers can be easily identify them. Since the pointers of the point of memory space are 8 bytes to 4 bytes boundaries, the interpreters ensures that the lower 2 bits always 0. To store the intermediate value, interpreter uses these bits set the rest of the values code different intermediate values of the pointer. Next question is 15th. Write a short notes of global variables. Implementation of global variables in such a way that is inaccessible both extension and Ruby can be done in following way. The Ruby is the final initialization value Ruby object. Then the address of Ruby variable is bounded to the Ruby variable name. Example: static value book list, static value initialization subject info. Bracket RB defined class book list is equals to RB array new, RB defined variable, RB array push, close bracket. This Ruby code can be accessed the C variable book line of book $book. It must be noted to the prefix $ is optional to declaring stack based variable as a global is not recommended. The value of global variable can be calculated when is accessed by defining hook and virtual variables. Hooked variable, it is virtual variable. Hooked variable is a variable, real variable which is initialized when it is corresponding to the variable is accessed. Virtual variable is similar to the hooked variable, but this is not stored anywhere. Its value can be determined by executing the hook function. The garbage collection is altered when the Ruby object from C is created stored in the global variable without exporting in Ruby. The next question is 16th. Explain the various operations performed in Junkbox for Junkbox extension for Ruby. Junkbox extension. Junkbox extension is defined as a process of interferes C and Ruby code. Shares the data behavior between two different languages. The various operations that can perform using these are warping C structure, warping C data types, creating objects, allocating functions, cloning the objects. Warping C structure. The C structure can be warped into Ruby by using Wander library. Here is an example. Initials type diff state cdjb int status int request void data chair pending chair state initial unit. cd junkbox new web player int unit id void free player void player seek. Void free player uses cd junkbox music. Void player seeks cd junkbox music into disk into truck void done junkbox music into %. Double tap for average seek time. It warps the structure of the programming might not enough understanding the fields used in C structure. It can be warped into data type T data Ruby class. Such a warping to Marcos are used to additional Marcos which used for retrieval structures. Second one is warping C data type. C data type can be warped using following methods: value data structure value class void mark void free void ptr. It warps given C data type pointer, registers the garbage collection routers and returns to the value pointers to the Ruby objects. The value data gets strict value object C type C type. It is a type refers warp which evaluates the pointers and returns to the original pointer. X value data makes state value class C type void. It's a collection of structure from indicated type continues the data dash warp dash state. Data dash warp dash state creates a normal Ruby but it is an additional C data type which cannot be accessed by Ruby. Here Ruby used to garbage collection shame and mark swap. It pause the Ruby marks memory that is being pointed. For having more pointers in swap, a pass of Ruby free on memory that isn't marked a mark face. In order to participate in having pointers, the swap face is free from isn't marked in mark face. In order to participate in this process is used to define routers for each process. Both pause takes pointers void which refers to the structure. The mark can called by garbage collector RBGC mark value can be used to detect the objects and refers to the some structures. The garbage collection calls the free router and free object that is disposed it free from all memory allocation. Here is the example. Type def strict sci-book. Char title, char author in price, sci-book bible, value book, P allocation sci-book, P authors careless, P title Java, P price 500, data book is equals to data warp state by free. Creating objects. The user has to write corresponding code to initialize the method and define new method for the class to create allocation extra space in object. Fourth one is allocation function. Allocation function is used to create a memory for an object. It uses as allocated space if class hops in any structure. Let's go with the next question. Memory allocation. Memory allocation. Write a short notes on memory allocation in memory extension. Memory allocation is a Ruby extension can be used to store bitmap and Bolong filters and images and structures other than the objects. It is also needed for dealing with garbage collector properly. For these following routes are used. type allocation and type n. It is used to allocation and type literal name objects. Type allocation C type n. It is used for allocating memory for n C type objects. This memory is temporary, which means it is become free from when a function it is allocated. It uses allocated function allocate dash n in return. Type allocate C type. It is used for allocation C dash type to point the pointers. To relocate real request were C type n. It is used for relocating and C types and attaching the variable pointer to the C type variable. These roots are different from macros. Next question is 19th. Explain details about Ruby type system. Also discuss two ways for bridging Ruby to other languages. Ruby type system. Ruby type system is a headline concept of duck typing. This concept encourages to focus on more applicable capabilities of class and object rather than its type. Its concept can be illustrated through the following example of program. Value rb-f execute argument code and argument v. Int argue value argue v, value x is equals to 0, value y is equal value. If argue is equals to 0, bracket close, bracket open, rb dash raise argue error incorrect, close, y is equals to rb check string type argue, bracket open, x is equals to string ptr save strings value, argue 0 is equals to r string y ptr, bracket close. If argument c is equals to 1 and add x is equals to 0, bracket open, value cmd is equals to argv, satisfy string value cmd, close bracket, else open bracket, print execution and rcv argc comma argv comma x, close bracket, rb dash rys dash file r string arv ptr return 1, close bracket. In the value program, the code does not really check the argument type, but it also calls method passing through the argument. Moreover, the method returns to the original object if the type of the object is appropriate. It also may consist of may does not accept the objects from methods called by the users to string. The conclusion in the Ruby type system, it is not preferable to check the parameter type. Rather than this method can be used to convert parameter type into required type. Moreover, this preferable to use dash srt or to dash ary. String and array methods are implementation of string and array respectively. Bridges of two other languages. These are two ways of bridge Ruby to other languages other than C. They are use of C code. The two languages can integrate with using bridge C language for the purpose of extension can be used extension written in corresponding language. Without using C code, the two languages can be bridged using middleware. Next question is, so that is the last question. No, there is another question. 20. Discuss the ways of embedding Ruby interpreter. Embedding a Ruby interpreter. Ruby is embedding a Ruby interpreter. Embedding Ruby within the application can be done in two ways. First one is the interpreter can be made take control by Ruby dash run. Ruby interpreter can be initialized by calling Ruby init. Example, include rb.h in int main void Ruby dash initialized open bracket close bracket Ruby initialize load path, Ruby script welcome, Ruby load file saya RB, Ruby run, Ruby exit. To compile the file embedded code, the Ruby include the library files are required. Drawback: the interpreter never return from the Ruby-rn. Second one is the Ruby code and C code can be made of 2 integers more than where Ruby interpreter initializes normally. The C code gets control back when the method invoke the user return to the value. Include ruby.h, the int main void open bracket ruby dash initialized value open bracket close bracket ruby dash int initialized dat dash load path initial status. The Ruby load path protects the string ruby status. If the string value Ruby functional call rpcgv get ruby dash intern printf string value printr Ruby finalized Ruby return Ruby status. Drawback: the C program terminates when the Ruby code throws the exception where remains uncaught. To protect all functions, calls the raise of exception RB protect method is used. This method verbs call other than C function, but either RB protects takes only one parameter. Ambiguating Ruby PI. The different functions used in ambiguating the interpreter as follows: void Ruby int. It is used to set up an initializer interpreter. It is called prior to the any Ruby function. Void Ruby initializing load path. It is used to initialize the load path variables when the code loads any library models. Void dash Ruby script char name. It is used to set Ruby script name to specified name. Void Ruby dash options. It is used to provide the commands lines options to the Ruby interpreter. Void RB load char file. It is used to load given file. Ruby void Ruby dash run. It is used to run the interpreter. Void Ruby finalize. It is called close to interpreter. It is can be ambiguated only Ruby interpreter per process because Ruby interpreter is not built to just ambiguate. This is the whole second unit about advanced Ruby. So that is for guys.